So welcome. My name is David Alsieux from WisdomSquare.com, and today I'm going to be interviewing Judy Petey from BigBabySmallSpace.com. How are you doing today, Judy?
Very well, thank you.
So, Judy, if I'm correct, you were able to have two successful pregnancies, right?
Yes, very successful pregnancies and very big babies.
That's very good. So the whole point of today's video is really going to be for people that are, just found out that they're pregnant or that are planning to become pregnant soon. So a lot of people, they search Google, all the time, what can I eat now that I'm pregnant? It's a big mystery. A lot of people think now I have to eat for two, but really it's, maybe 300 extra calories you have to add to your diet. So it's not as, it's not as bad as people think it to be. So I definitely am glad to be able to get some of your insights since you've been through it. And I'm going to
Thank
try to
you.
offer some, some advice, some stuff that I've learned, over the years. So I guess I just wanted to start off. I guess before your first pregnancy, before you were able to begin,
Yeah.
what kind of foods were you like accustomed to eating normally?
Well, I was a big hamburger eater, cheeseburger eater. So I ate about one cheeseburger a week,
Okay.
and I had a pretty high metabolism. So I was able to eat a wide range of food without really gaining a lot of weight. And I actually went on a weight gain diet because I thought I was too skinny. So I was just like a basic meat and potatoes kind of girl. That's how I grew up, and that's basically what I ate.
Okay. It actually sounds very similar to me, so I could relate very much to that. So, once you became pregnant, what was some of the differences you noticed in the food you craved?
Well, I had my first pregnancy, I had a son,
Okay.
which I didn't know until he was born.
Oh,
But I ate meatloaf, which I never ate in my entire life. Suddenly, I wanted meatloaf. And I found a restaurant that made meatloaf, and I went there like twice a week. So I craved a lot of meat during my first pregnancy. And watermelon. I had maybe, my husband used to carry a watermelon every week home. Like, and I would eat the whole huge watermelon. So those were like the two funny things that I just like always ate. And after I gave birth to him, I could not look at another watermelon. And I haven't eaten meatloaf since then either. But those were the two big things that I just really, really wanted to eat, and I ate a lot of. I didn't eat pickles or ice cream, like the myth about that. I didn't have any of those kind of cravings.
right. And did that change from the beginning to the end of your first pregnancy, or did that stay consistent, those two foods?
The first 3 months I was nauseous, with the
Yeah.
morning sickness. And so that at that time I ate pretty normally. Like I think I actually even ate less than I normally eat because food was just very nauseating at that point. But once I hit the fifth month mark, I was I wasn't eating more. I wasn't eating to be pregnant. I just wanted more meat. Like my body was just craving protein.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what I had. I just ate a lot of steak and hamburgers and meatloaf and stuff like that. And then towards like I had a summer baby.
Okay.
So at like 7 months, that's when the watermelon kicked in like crazy. So,
Right. It's
and yeah, it was the very, very last month. I was doing really well. Then the last month, I was just so hungry all day long. And I think I gained the most weight in the last month.
it's interesting. I'm just thinking in the back of my head that you said watermelon and you had a summer baby. There's actually some science behind watermelon. They're actually very good for your skin when you're in the sunlight. So it helps act as like a natural sunblock, if you will.
Nice.
So that could be one
I
reason
have to
why you,
start eating it again.
yeah, that could be one reason why you were craving it. And So you didn't, in your second pregnancy, were you eating those same two foods, or was that like it? Or
No, so my son was born, he was 9 pounds, 6 ounces. So he was huge. I was enormous. I gained like 60 pounds with him. With my second child, it ended up being a girl, which I didn't know. I could not eat meat. It was a total opposite. I just wanted fruits and vegetables, and that's all I ate. And I was nauseous anytime I smelled meat, was around meat. I just couldn't do anything. And then at the end of my pregnancy, I was so depleted. I was very weak because even though I was trying to supplement the proteins,
mm-hmm.
I wasn't getting enough protein in my diet.
Mm-hmm.
And she just sucked it out of me.
Yes,
I just felt it.
right.
I felt my body, my muscles, my bones, everything was very, like, just depleted.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, my daughter, she loves fruits and vegetables. That's her like favorite thing to eat.
Yep.
And my son loves meat. So it's just they continued afterwards to like the same food. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a very different pregnancy.
Mm. I would say, I think like, because I know you said you were really depleted because you wasn't able to get the same protein from eating meat. And, if women are going through something similar to that, then there's definitely ways to get protein from plants. Animals, they have to eat plants and then we eat the animals. So things like kale have like tons of calcium, protein. Either if you try not to cook it too much, but if you could like give it a quick steam or a quick stir fry even really fast, you'll be able to retain a lot of that calcium and protein from it, and so that's going to be really good. There's a lot of other little tips like there's something called like a non-nutritional yeast, and it's kind of like a yellow cheese flake that you could like sprinkle on your food. And there's like a lot of protein in that too. That's
Where can you get that? I heard about that. Can you get that at a health food store?
Yeah, I've only seen it so far in Whole Foods.
In Whole Foods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my husband's a vegetarian, and I cook vegetarian food, but I always feel like we don't get enough protein.
Yeah, that's actually like the secret that a lot of vegetarians use. Because a lot of vegetarians are also deficient in B12. So that's another way that they supplement for that instead.
Okay.
Pretty. Yeah. Glad I could share it. Okay, so I was just wondering too. So, in between, after your first pregnancy, were you continuing to eat meat, and then you all of a sudden stopped eating meat when you got pregnant for the second time, or?
Yes, I continued the way I always ate my meat and potatoes. My husband's a vegetarian, so I eat a lot of vegetarian food. I don't eat. I eat meat now. Well, during the pregnancies, I stopped eating red meat. Not for any reason that it just didn't taste good anymore. And then we ate like meat once. I like crave turkey now. So that's what I was eating. I was eating a lot of turkey, about once or twice a week, and fish. So I became healthier in the way I was eating. But then after my daughter was born, it took me a while to get back to eating meat. My body still was rejecting it. It took me like 6 months, and then I started to be able to eat meat again.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I think I know like one of the benefits eating a vegetarian diet is you get to avoid some of the bad stuff that you find in meat, but like if you're a heavy meat eater, there are like some little tips that could help you so it's not as harmful to your body. So for example, when you grill meat, whether it's red beef or chicken or turkey or anything, they actually start to produce like small amounts of carcinogens, these like few chemicals, right? So that's why it's like recommended to really avoid eating, like if it's really burned or charred, the meat, you probably really shouldn't eat it. And then also like if you put specifically rosemary on it, and squeeze, like marinate it with some lemon juice. That helps neutralize the bad stuff in the meat, because there's
Okay.
there's like tons of like antioxidants in rosemary specifically. So that's like a nice little tip. And I know you mentioned fish before too. A tip for that is when you eat salmon. Salmon is like one of the best things to eat, but it contains mercury, and a lot of women are scared about that. But I guess like a lot of people don't realize that if you actually drink green tea, for example, the antioxidants in that actually help your body block the absorption of mercury. So
That's interesting.
yeah, it could help some people feel a little
That's
safer.
so much information.
Yeah, I probably do a little too much reading for my own good. And I guess one more thing for mercury too, or really to kind of detox any chemicals out of your body or toxins, cilantro is really powerful too. Adding
Yep.
that like on the side of a meal. So I'm gonna move on now to the next question for you. So those were the foods that you really craved, and I know like they were kind of opposites. They kind of upset your stomach when you ate those foods. Were there any other foods that really stood out besides the ones you mentioned that really made you sick, or just didn't sit well in your stomach, or was that mainly those foods?
Um, During the pregnancies, that I mean, I don't recall having really any reaction during my first pregnancy to anything. I stayed away from test during the pregnancies. Like I didn't have cold cuts, and I didn't have like shellfish and all the things they warn you about.
Yeah.
I really wanted to eat cheese, but I wasn't sure what kind of cheese I was allowed to eat, so I stayed away from cheese. And but yeah, there wasn't anything. I just know with the meat, since I was such a big meat eater, that was a big shock for me with my second.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Um, I guess as far as cheese, it sounded like you were unsure about that. I guess like the typical rule is you're not really. They recommend you not to eat anything that's not heated up. That's like meat or dairy products, because when they're transporting it for miles and miles, and there's bacteria. If it's a little bit, it starts to grow over the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you were like in front of like when they made the cheese like first, or even like raw meat, like you could eat it while you're pregnant. There's been like people that have done it in like certain cultures, where it's like, on the spot. But it's the whole reason that we have to like travel, and like, it's on a truck or it's on a plane to get here to the grocery store. So that's why they really recommend, unless it's it would say pasteurized. That's what it means when you see like pasteurized milk, pasteurized orange juice, pasteurized cheese. That they heat it to a certain temperature, so it kills any harmful bacteria.
Okay.
Yeah, because as your body, like you said, the baby really is sucking a lot of the protein from you, and you feel drained and weak. The same thing happens for your immune system, so that's why you're a lot more susceptible to getting sick if like a little bit of. But you don't have to go crazy with it. Of course, it's never good to get paranoid, but that's the reason why they don't recommend really eating anything that's not pasteurized. And so another question: how much energy for your first pregnancy did you really feel you had like through the day? If you had to give it like a scale of 1 to 10, like what were you experiencing?
It was different at different stages.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was very typical. At the beginning, I was working, and nobody knew I was pregnant, so I had to keep up the appearance that I was, had the same energy. But then the 6 months, I had enormous amount of energy. But then all of a sudden, I'd have to sleep,
Mm.
and I could because I didn't have any other children, so I could. And then towards the end, I couldn't sleep at all at night. I just was wide awake. But I had this urgency that I had to get a lot of stuff done because my whole life was about to change.
Mm-hmm.
So that urgency made me have more energy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was kind of like it wasn't a healthy energy. It was kind of like an anxiety energy.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, where I was just like, oh no, I have to get all these projects in. I'm not going to be back at work for 3 months. That kind of feeling. And I worked till the day I gave birth.
Oh wow.
So
Bless
it was only not because my boss told me, it's me. It was
you.
just
Yeah.
all me. So,
Strong woman.
so that was with my first, but my second, again, I had two very big babies. I'm small, I'm only 5'2", and I was not supposed to have such big babies. My body could not take it. So with my second one, I had to actually quit working because every time my baby grew, I had scars from my first one internally. So I was bedridden for most of my second pregnancy.
Mm.
And I had a child, I had a toddler. So I was always tired, always. Everything was hard, everything was difficult. It was very different. And I'm not planning on having any more kids.
That was it.
I was not one of these glowing mothers who like blossom when they're pregnant. Not me.
How much did your second baby weigh?
Second one was 9'4", and my first was 9'6".
Okay.
They were both big, and
Yeah.
I gained a lot. I was humongous on both of them, with both kids. Yeah.
Mm. Wow. And did you did you find you were like getting sick a lot while you were pregnant, or?
No, this was interesting. I used to get sick a lot before I was pregnant. I was susceptible to a lot of colds. And I think it was the multivitamins, those super packed multivitamins you're supposed to take when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, ever since I got pregnant, I have never been healthier. I am rarely sick, and like my kids are sick all the time. I rarely catch anything that they have, and yeah, I think the pregnancy changed my body that way because I used to be, I mean, every other month I was sick with something. So I actually got healthier.
Oh wow.
Afterwards. Yeah, it was really strange. So I didn't get sick that often, and I still don't.
Okay. Would you like ever feel like cold or like unusually warm, or did you have that too when you were getting sick, or?
Before pregnancy?
Yeah.
Well, I used to get strep throat, stomach viruses, like constantly. So, and then I was working at a elementary school for a little bit, and a child would be like 10 feet from me, and I would catch whatever they had. It was crazy. I was just always sick. So, and then I worked many hours prior to that, so just running really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think my children's schedule, there being such a routine to their schedule, also has helped me stay healthy. Whereas before I was just working at crazy hours, not eating, not sleeping or sleep, just that kind of lifestyle. So I'm very regimented now because my kids are regimented.
Oh, okay. So I guess now, like, since you became pregnant, you were able to start eating a lot more regular, a lot more healthy.
Yeah.
So I would probably guess that's probably why you've been able to stop getting sick as much. And
yeah, it's a lot of factors. Again,
Yeah.
like I got married and my husband's a vegetarian. I had my baby very soon after that. So I'm eating a lot more vegetables than I used to eat. And I'm taking vitamins. I never took vitamins before.
Mhm.
So I'm taking vitamins now. So that I think all of that has helped a lot.
Okay. I'm glad it's helped you. Just kind of seen the benefits of, I guess, eating regular, really, and everything else that came into it. So as far as, would you like, I'm sure, like, did you, like, experience, like, different a lot of mood swings, between the two different pregnancies, or was that like a big factor you noticed, like maybe from the beginning to the end, or did you notice like it got worse at certain points, or between like having a boy or having a girl, did you notice like mood swings was more as a factor between one more than the other, or?
Yes. Again, my first pregnancy was very easy, and then I heard rumors. There's a reason mothers and daughters fight because it all starts from the womb. Well, I have a very good relationship with my daughter, but I had a difficult pregnancy, and then post after that, I was a crazy woman after my second child was born, and I'm still working with my gynecologist to figure out where my hormonal level is, because for the 9 months after I gave birth to my second child, I had crazy, crazy mood swings where I just was kind of like looking at myself as if I was removed from myself, and I was like, who is this woman? Like, where did she come from? And I would just leave the room because I was like yelling for no reason. I couldn't even stop. And my husband, thank God, was so patient with me throughout this thing. And I wasn't depressed. It was hormonal. Like, I would react very differently to things, and it took a long time to settle down. And it's still not. I'm still not back to where I was. I'm still just a little bit, not as high intensity, but
Yeah.
a little bit all over the place than before.
Okay. So you kind of notice, like, you feel like you're a little different than how you were originally. Like, you're not yourself as much.
Yeah, and it's definitely related to my hormonal level. At least that's what my doctors think, because they thought maybe I was going through postpartum, but I didn't have any real the classic symptoms of postpartum. But there was definitely a change in my body afterwards.
Yeah, it's that's definitely a very big thing. I think like for a lot of women, they really, when they go to the doctor, like the first thing they'll think is, like kind of what's, the next pill that I might have to start taking now to like rebalance it. But I think like a lot of like, research and like things I've been reading, it really shows that, the best thing to really do is kind of like figure out what the cause of it is. Of course, being the pregnancy, but really like there's certain, I kind of coined the term PMS detox snacks. So there's really like certain food combinations that you could put together to really help you rebalance your hormones. For one thing is really combining antioxidants together. So foods that are really the highest in antioxidants, for example, some dark chocolate with some apples, that bright color red. That's a really powerful combination. And if you just eat one of them by themselves separate, it's really the synergy that they work together that make them like 10 times just like a lot more powerful. Other examples, anything from blueberries to black grapes, dark cherries, raspberries, the red. So combining, like eating like a little bowl, like a fruit bowl, stuff like that, should be able to potentially help. And also nuts, they're really high in certain minerals, specifically Brazil nuts. They contain the like highest amount of selenine in like almost any food, and that specific mineral really plays a big role in like regulating your mood and really like balancing you out.
Do you combine that with fruit as well?
Yeah, you could combine that as well.
So I could eat chocolate?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Not milk chocolate, dark chocolate, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. You got it. I think like typically, try to look for, from like 75 to 85%, around that range. The higher definitely the better. And if you have like trouble with too much sugar, some people, if they're not able to eat a lot of fruit, then typically you're not able to eat that much sugar. So if you actually get the powdered form of like powdered cocoa and maybe mix that in a smoothie. The powdered form contains less sugar than the solid form does, so that could be one thing. And
I don't have a problem with sugar.
yes, that's good. Neither do I, so we got a good life. The other thing too is protein. I know you were eating a lot of protein before, but protein really it does two things primarily. It helps you detoxify your liver, which is the biggest like internal organ you have in your body, and that's really like the root for a lot of hormonal imbalances. Is toxification is too much in your liver. So eating protein is going to actually help you detoxify your liver, and it also helps you balance, like maintain a steady blood sugar level. So help a bit with energy too, and then really combining like meat with a salad on the side, some leafy greens, is going to really help in digestion and really turning that that meat into energy, because leafy greens are really high in B vitamins, and maybe a lot of people know that B vitamins are good for energy. So that's what it does. It converts the food you eat into energy. So
That's it. That's really interesting because when I started eating more protein after 9 months, my mood also changed. That's good to know.
I'm
Well, it's
glad.
interesting because your body tells you what it needs, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of the time, like, there's never like one size fits all solution, but it's just, listening to your body and, not ignoring it, paying attention to it. And I think, like, while you're pregnant, women are really much more in touch with, what their body needs, and, able to listen to it a lot more so.
Yeah.
So, I guess, as we start to wind down, I guess the last question I have is, were you able to like be in the sun a lot? I know you said your first pregnancy was a summer baby. Were you like outside a lot, or?
With my first pregnancy, towards the end, I was in the sun a lot because, again, it was a summer baby. My second pregnancy was a spring baby, but because I had a toddler, we were in the playground every day.
Okay.
So I'm outside a lot. So yes, I wasn't stuck in an office or at home kind of thing. So I definitely tried. I had to get outside every day because he had to get outside every day.
That's awesome. That's really good. A lot of doctors, they'll recommend you should get really between like 10 to 15 or 20 minutes at least, in the sunlight. Because that's really like vitamin D. That's they add it to milk. It's fortified. They have to add it into a lot of milk, cheese. But we naturally get that through sunlight, just like the sun hitting our skin. So being outside, and vitamin D helps you absorb calcium. Calcium, protein. It's gonna help your baby grow and develop. So that's really important to be in the sun a lot. And did you find like was your skin like, would it burn if you were in the sun like around like 10-20 minutes, or were you like?
My skin doesn't generally burn, but I wear hats all the time. So yeah, I didn't get any of that. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I was okay. But I also didn't wear sunscreen, I think, during that time. Well, I was afraid of so many different things when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I tried to be like, I'm not that afraid now
Yeah.
that I'm not pregnant, but when I was pregnant, my thing was just go on the side of caution. So if I just didn't know, I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the way I worked.
I can understand that. I guess like as a good thing just to know is that there's like certain foods that like really help you. Like I think I mentioned a little before that act as almost as a sunblock for your skin. So really eating beta carotene is like vitamin A. So sweet potatoes, carrots, stuff like that are like the orange. That's gonna help you help your skin form like a natural barrier that instead of really like blocking the sun rays, the UV light, it's gonna actually absorb it, and it keeps it from like damaging your skin. So that and lycopene, which is in watermelons and tomatoes. So like red color for that. So that's really gonna help. Those two things, vitamin A and lycopene, those that helps you too. And I guess you're probably mostly right in not wanting to put too much sunscreen on your skin, because your skin really does absorb anything that you put on it. So stuff like that is better. So I guess as we start to wrap up now, is there any last things that you really wanted to share with people that may be watching this, that they're going through the first pregnancy now, or they're preparing to go through maybe something we didn't cover yet, or last words of advice?
Well, I think the one thing I learned ever since I got pregnant was that your baby has a lot to say in your life. A lot. So I was listening to my baby from the minute I was pregnant, and I was just responding constantly to my baby's needs and trying to make it as comfortable for myself as I could. So anytime that I had a problem was when I resisted that, and I'm like, I want this, and then my body was like, or my baby actually was like, no way, you're not having that. So that was good. That taught me a lot. And when my baby was born, it continued that kind of two-way street kind of communication with the child. So it wasn't just only my agenda.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of moms, they're able to tell right away what the child needs. They're not able to talk the baby, but just like looking at the baby or just being next to them, you kind of just pick up what they need. It's really incredible.
Yeah, well, we had a 9-month waiting period, and that's where we get to know each other. So.
Yes. You develop that connection.
Exactly.
And I think just like the last thing I wanted to mention, something specifically for a lot of your readers that I know live in small spaces, so they have to conserve as much of the fridge space and stuff like that. One of the tips that I've picked up in the past is really trying to minimize waste. So I think your readers really could maybe benefit from that. What's something I would do is, if I buy vegetables, sometimes they go bad, really fast, like within a week. It gets really annoying. You got to throw it away, but you don't want to do that. So right when I'm like almost at the end of eating something, or I know like it's probably gonna go bad tomorrow or the next day, and I got instead of like trying to get myself to eat it, then I'll just I'll put it in the freezer. And freezing food really, unlike cooking, really gets rid of a lot of the nutrients in the food, but freezing it doesn't have that negative effect. So I would freeze it, and you could really use it for like a vegetable broth. Just take all the food, like if you buy celery, you could cut the tops. Nobody really eats the tops of celery. You could save that in a freezer bag and then use it, pull it out when you're gonna make a soup. Or if you buy parsley, like the stem, or a lot of the stems of food, you pretty much any part of fruit that you would normally throw away, you could just put in the freezer, use it for a vegetable broth. Or another thing, a lot of people, if you like make smoothies in the morning, and sometimes people will put almonds in the smoothie or some type of nut. When you're buying food like apples or apricots or peaches or plums, anything that really like has a pit or a nut inside of it, you can really save those, and actually those are really powerful to put in the smoothie. If it's like an apricot or a pit, then you could just use a nutcracker and then open it up. There's a kernel inside that looks a little different colored, and like it's just about like minimizing waste. So really getting like the most out of your food. Not trying to stock up too much, but use what you have. So I think maybe that could help some of your readers specifically.
That's amazing. You have so much knowledge about this. I had like no idea about any of these things.
Yeah. It's good to know, I guess, a lot of different things, right? I was really happy to share with you today, and I appreciate the time you took out talking to you this morning. I hope you have a great day. Again, Judy from bigbabysmallspace.com. Make sure you guys go over, sign up for her email list. Email her thank you. This was great information we got from you. And if you want to see more about me, wisdomsquare.com. I'll attach links at the bottom of this email and the video in the description. Make sure you sign up for the email list. You get more helpful tips. I came up with something called like the 7 advanced Gnosis food combinations. So it's kind of like little combining this food with that. I mentioned it before with like the PMS detox snacks. I have like a few more if you want to learn more about that. Make sure you guys sign up for the email list.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me permission to have chocolate.
No problem.
With fruit, antioxidant fruit.
Yep, dark chocolate though. Take care. Have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.